Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the SoapyRao show. This is another episode with a very special gentleman. Well, what can I say about him? I'm as excited as you to meet him. He's the founder of FinShots. He's also the founder of Ditto Insurance. He's done a lot to get here, and he's got an interesting story to share with all of us. So let him do it the best way he can, because he's going to tell us all about himself. So without further delay, please welcome to the podcast, Mr. Pawan Rai. Pawan, thank you so much, my friend, for doing this.
Sure, same. Thanks for calling me, Sandeep, on this show.
It's my pleasure. So people like you are the future of our country. The startup market is hot, and a lot of people are talking about ideas, conceptualization of new things for the betterment of India. And okay, before we get to FinShots, before we get to the newsletter, which has grown so exponentially with subscription and with the money talk that people are involved with. So how did you start with this entire thing? Where did your sort of journey begin when it comes to the interest in sort of explaining to people and sort of educating people, and even your interest in finance?
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me about, where it start, I mean, when I was, did my Bachelor of Technology at BTech in 2014, I got a very good job. I mean, of course, during that time, 14, 15, you getting a job is, when you're in college, it's like getting a job is like a rat race.
Yeah.
I mean, you just get a job, that's it. And everywhere, doing a startup and all was, buzz that time also. But I mean, you'd never actually bother. I mean, at that time, I never thought about it. But yeah, if you ask me as a person, I always had curious idea. I was very curious. I used to have some interesting ideas always here and there, which I used to experiment, but never actually seriously, pursued anything just for fun. But because at the last time I was thinking, no, I had to get a job. That is the aim.
Right.
But once I joined my first company in Punjab, is a textile company, right? And pay was very good. So yeah, I thought, okay, I made it. I got a job. Life is done. Now nothing else. Okay.
That's pretty much the Indian dream come true, right? Like you
exactly
checked all the boxes.
Yeah. Parents happy, everyone very happy.
Yeah.
And so when I joined and I started working, because it was a textile plant, I was like, okay. I mean,
sorry, which part of the country was this in?
Is in Punjab.
In Punjab, right?
Punjab, yeah. So generally, you mostly get a job in some analytics company or IT company in Bangalore, Delhi, Noida, somewhere like. But this was since it was a core job, mechanical production kind of job.
You were on the factory floor.
Exactly. Yeah. So since it was a textile this thing, and I was the only one who got selected from this thing. So when I joined there, I was first few days, I interacted with a lot of people, and everybody was telling me, oh yeah, this company is, shit. And I was like, hey man, why are you calling like this? I mean, they're paying so much.
So who are these people who said it was shit? Like these were guys who were in the software?
Yes. No. These guys were the electrical engineers, mechanical. I was a production engineer, so I also
at the same company.
Yes.
Okay.
So these
guys colleagues were
working this. Exactly. Right. These guys were already working there, and say, if you could find any other option, better to leave. I was like, it's already 1 year bond, man. I mean, I already joined. Who will leave and pay the bond? Right.
Crazy.
I was like,
I just sorry for interrupting. I just want to understand this thought, right? There's this sort of sense, and I'm a little cut off from it because I don't know how old you are, and if you're okay speaking about your age, it's cool, because just to give context, I'm 38, and at a time like now, when there's booming business, booming placements, and the rat race, as you call it, of course, everyone wants more of the pie. Everyone wants more of the salaries. They're moving to another company for a 7% raise in 3 months, 20%. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
What is this culture like growing up in India? Like, just to sort of put, while you're talking about your experience at this textile place, what was your context with money like? Because it's sort of, people call it the post-boom India, right? The post-IT India, where the influx of foreign investment is so high. So salaries have gone from 20,000 a month to the lakhs in the months, right? So what was the sense of job satisfaction versus salary versus doing any
So
sort of social
yeah,
change?
I mean, see, I was the one of the highest package at my campus. When I got,
Right.
I was getting, at that time, getting a core job in a factory of 12 lakh CTC was a huge deal at 2000,
Wow. Okay.
2014. So at
Right.
that time, I was one of the highest this thing, and I was like, yeah, cool. And I mean, I was from a middle class background. I mean, my father had a business, my brother and all used to do some small business, but there is always an uncertainty. So my family always wondered, you are good at studies, so you go and you're better
Yeah.
to do a job. So
That's a lot of money. I mean, till date.
yeah. Till date, also that in 2014, it was a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean,
So
if you look at other industries or other verticals, 12
correct,
lakhs is still a very unrealizable
exactly,
number for most
exactly,
people.
exactly. So that is the reason why I was, very excited to join and work because yeah, I mean, I got such a huge sum. I was
Yeah.
like, right. But yeah, I mean, and my family, everyone was, saying, yeah, you are so lucky. Now you got this thing and you have to go and now you have to earn and you have to send money.
Ulterior motives. Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Then we will marry you.
Oh,
So,
God. They had the
uh,
trap at the end of the tunnel.
exactly,
Huh?
exactly. Yeah.
So
So
your family and you are from which part of India?
we are from Jharkhand, a small town called Giridi.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So they are still there. Your family's still there. So they had this
Yes.
destination for you, which was money, return the money, and get married.
I'm actually, see, I mean, and none of us in my family do job. All of
Right.
them are business people.
Business, right? Of
Even on
course.
my cousins, we are in a joint family, and every single person is in business. Nobody. So I was the only guy,
Right.
who is out of job and started earning paychecks. So,
Crazy I mean,
so
it
yeah.
must be a different kind of departure from tradition, right?
Yes,
Because when you
yes,
say
yes,
business, it's such an inherent part of certain Indian groups
yes.
to say business as a very sort of natural thing. Like academically, some of my classmates as well really didn't sort of thrive academically. They didn't do all the academic check boxes, engineering, MBA, PhD,
Mm-hmm,
but they just had the brain
mm-hmm.
for the knack for business, like saying, you know what, this is how I think, this is how my genetics have taught me to think. And it's so
Correct,
beautiful how so many Indians are good at it.
correct. No, I mean, even my family members don't pay heed to, if you are doing a job, they don't care. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
like, no, my business is good and best.
yeah, right, right.
So when I joined, I was TK. I was happy with that. But when I heard the colleagues and when I actually faced, I mean, it was a very, I mean, you don't like working in a village in Punjab, right? All your friends are in metros and all. My
Yeah, yeah,
girlfriend, my girlfriend was also in metro, so
right.
I was
That's a
like,
bigger motivation than the job, I'm sure.
yeah. So I was my soul was never there. My physical body was always there, but mentally I
Right.
was never there. So I thought okay, maybe this is if this is the job, then I mean this is what I was aiming for. Then my whole aim was wrong. I was not
Mm.
because in the 2-3 months I realized that I'm not made for work like this kind of a job. Maybe it's just
Regimented
yeah,
job, yeah.
it's never resonated with me.
So how
So
old were you at this point when you felt these things, this particular shift?
I was around 22.
22. Now, the reason I ask your age is I know it's not fundamental and it's not everyone who feels this, but it's so easy in this sort of this way we've been told to live, that you know what, just continue doing as long as you have the check boxes ticked. You just keep
Correct,
doing your thing. You have a family. I mean, you get a graduate from a good college, get a job, make more money, keep increasing that, get a safety sort of in a safety net when it comes to finance, find a
correct,
wife, have a
correct.
family, find an apartment, buy that apartment, and it's a
I mean,
dream.
it's a cycle. I
It's a
mean,
cycle, yeah.
it's never ending cycle. If you
It's
ask
a
me
and
personally,
it doesn't serve itself, right? Because it always creates more need. It's never sort of fulfilling itself.
no, there is no end. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
like yeah, beta 10th mein 90% layout, and 12th mein you just go 90% ho gaya. Then or
yeah,
clear IIT JEE is done.
correct. And the same thing applies to money, or the same thing applies to assets, or to
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. I mean,
So how did you break that? Like, I mean, why did you break that? Like, what was that? Maybe a thought or that
to be
emotion.
honest, I mean, see, I as a person, I believe, I have, uh, as an entrepreneur, also, I will say, I mean, no, there is something, you're born with. I mean, I feel I'm more courageous, right?
Mm.
And I listen to myself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the sense ki I was never, people tells me a lot of things, but I don't listen to them. I do at the end what I want.
That's a good thing. I mean, people don't reward it, but it's a great thing. I
Yes, yes.
really
So no,
respect
this
that.
is a good sign of a leader, I would say. I
Yeah,
mean, you listen to everyone, but you do at the end what you feel right,
absolutely. Yeah.
right?
Easier
So
said than done, but it's a great
yes,
trait.
of
Yeah.
course, yes,
Yeah.
of course. So I was confused at that back then. I had a lot of money, so what I started trading in the stock market. Somebody told me, "Hey, Pawan, my uncle or someone got heart attack after investing in stock market. It's so risky and all." He just told me some stories about stock market. I said,
Yeah.
you know what, I have money, I want to get this thrill.
Right. Right.
Let me enjoy it. Now it's my money, it's not my parents, so I can burn it. Don't
Yeah.
know. So I was see, if you ask me, I never respected money, to be honest. I met a lot of people who saved, structured this investment, that investment at that point of time. I
No,
was
it's a
always ready for.
very interesting statement, okay, okay, go on. We'll come to that. I really
Yeah,
want to talk about that.
I was always ready for experiment, because I feel till now also I always feel what I did right in my 20s is, I mean, early 20s is, I I actually spent money to gain experiences, and those experiences became my assets, lifelong assets.
Beautiful. I mean,
So
I salute that because you use money as a means, not as the goal, right?
yes, yes. So I
Yeah.
never respected it. I lost a lot of money in stock market, but the experiences that I gained from there
Yeah.
was, like all of this, what is right now, you see, is just because of those experiences.
Absolutely, man. I mean,
So,
I just want to, okay, so since you're on that, I don't want to take away from your story, but I just believe that this is such an important thing to discuss when we have this environment of social media, we have this environment of YouTube telling people how to get rich quick, that you can be the richest, you can be the most influential person, that cryptocurrency, you just buy one coin. You're creating more and more of this need and more of this sort of um, system where reward is only by making it big in money. And when someone like you who's spreading financial literacy information, dispersing valuable stuff for people in a country of our size, so how do you look at money? You said you don't respect it, but how does someone wrap their head around that thought when we have the disparity that we do, where there's not enough money for people to eat, to a point where we have one of the richest men in the world living in our country? So where does money sort of find its place, and how do you kind of make peace with the fact that this is how much I need and this is how much I will use to do something better?
I mean, I mean, see, I have met a lot of my friends and all who were always, I mean, in the savings mode, and they have always, believed in, investments, or some sort of a structure they have in
Yeah.
their notepad or somewhere else. I've met a lot of people like that. If you meet me and ask me about this, till now, I don't believe in that. If I have whatever money, if I feel something strongly about, I invest in that. Anything.
Right.
If I feel about it, I will put my money into it. And even, I mean, I don't live a very, what do you say, monotonous or something repetitive life. I believe in, experimenting things every now and then, every month, every week, whatever allows. And if it takes money, I put that money. If you ask me, I mean, okay, Pawan, you will save 10 lakhs and you will buy a car like that. I don't work like that. I would rather buy it in a loan, pay it in some EMI. If I want that, if I really love that doing, I will go ahead. And 90% of my time, I was always in debt in my credit card because my expenditure was so high.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I had to do it because I want to experience things. And
Yeah.
credit card became my source of biggest, saver in
Liberation.
my life, because I was always in debt, and sometimes I was not able to pay. So,
Or it became your
finding.
source of this thing, like a crutch.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay,
Because
okay.
what do you do when your expenditure is always high, man? You can't do
Yeah.
anything. So
But do you
back
feel
then,
that is that a problem? Because I think a lot of people experience that, right? Because there's so many opportunities to be trapped in the is that the right word? The debt trap, right? Because you have so many chances to spend the money when you don't even have it. So is that a good?
I mean, see, of course, I see. I mean, as you always have that risk line. I was always measuring my risk. It was not that going out of it,
Correct.
but
Yeah.
but I prefer to be in that debt for a while, for which always I can pay in longer term. I know that if it
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
2 years, 3 years, I can take, but I always prefer to be in debt to experience those things. So my till now also, I believe that's how I live. I want to live. If
That's
something is
amazing. That's amazing to hear because not many people think like this, right? Because more and more is keep the money, pile it up, or invest, and it's all about
uh,
returns. not about
Yeah.
experiences. And I'm really focusing on this experiences part you're talking about, because it's so important. Because people think it's about education, job experience, work experience, whatever they call it, but not
Yes.
about life experience, because that's the
Yeah.
biggest teacher, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I left my job. I
Mm,
had no clue. I left my job and I thought, okay, if I stay here, there is nothing I'm going to learn, nothing I'm
mm,
going to happen. I will just be
yeah.
a rat kept in a cage.
Yeah.
So, let break this and just, explore the world. So I left and I went to Pune. I did, I back then I was preparing parallelly for my exam and all because I had a lot of time in my this company and all. But yeah, after this, I focused for 4 5 months there on my exam parallelly. Then once the exam was over, I was free completely, right?
Exam
And
as in your
cat.
your CAT, right,
Right.
right, right, right.
Then after that, I started exploring a lot of stuffs. Lot of stuff. Doesn't matter what it was. I just started exploring multiple things. And trading was something parallelly going on. I already lost 90% of my savings in trading. So
Oh
then I had
wow,
to withdraw
that's a big
my
hit. Yeah, right, right.
yeah. Then I withdraw my provident fund from my last company.
Mm,
Then I didn't burn that for the while
right.
because I knew, okay, I need this sum to at least survive for a while. So
Yeah, things are running pretty thin. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I was still staying there in the market to understand how does this stock market, this financial market works. What is this demat thing.
Yeah.
So in this past 1.5 year experience, I learned a lot of things. A retail investor can know this stuff, that stuff. I was pretty curious. Now I had a lot of learning with me here, what to do, what not to do. And I then from there I would, that idea was there in the mind. That love for that stock market was there. Then after I joined IMA, again, the life of studying, same thing. But there I was very clear, ki, same rat race is you don't have to repeat here. But
Okay.
I went for my internship, definitely, because again, everybody was going and you in 3 4 months, you don't have options. So I went there. But the day I landed there,
Yeah.
I was sure, ki, oh my God, I'm not going to do this again to myself.
Yeah.
So I met a good guy. He
Yeah.
said, ki, hey, I have my still some savings of this internship. But let's do one thing. Let's put together our money in one account and I will start trading on the joint account.
Yeah.
I have ample knowledge now. We can make money.
Right.
That's how, it started. I ended up my internship and I thought, okay, let's do it. Let's see how much money I can make. Okay. Well, things ran really good for 2 3 months, right? Until at a point I hit one bad day, where 15 days profit gone in one day.
Ouch. Yeah.
Okay.
It burns. Yeah.
So yeah, so back then I was thinking that these things are not sustainable. You know, if you keep on trading, there's always stress. Or every day I was sleeping with my mind thinking, "Kal kya hoga?"
Yeah, and there's a lot of regret. There's a lot of worry. There's a lot of
Yes,
uncertainty,
yes,
which is, I
yes.
mean, all fine. These are great things that life teaches you, but it's for what, right? It's like at a sort of very whimsical thing, like, oh, one thing
I
happens.
mean,
Yeah.
see, if you start trading and all, no, there are a lot of things the stock market teaches you in soft skills. How
Yeah.
to be patient, how to not regret, how to keep your losses clear, how to make your mindset while making
Yeah.
decision, what to do, what not to do,
And
and
let
where
go
to
of.
exit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exact. So that emotional thing I learned a lot from that experience.
Nice.
But I mean, sooner or later, I realized if something, till that time, the idea of startup was not hitting my mind at that point. One day, I got a call from my friend. He said, "Hey, you want to do a project?" I said, "Yeah, I can do a project because there, in what happens in the university, you can take a project and
Okay, you were still at your program at your. Yeah.
yeah. In the
Right. Right.
second year, yeah,
Right.
second year, you can skip few subjects and you can take some credits, right?"
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I decided to do a project, and I said, ki, I'll do a project. The thing that I like, improving the demat penetration and all that project was there because I knew stock market, so I knew a lot of things about it, so I could do a better project. But it was not an intention to do a startup. But back then when I started working on that project and that meeting professor, I hit a point where I said, ki, you know what, this is a great idea to work on. Why can't we do a startup on this? Anyways, I mean, taking placement is like a bullshit thing. I don't want to do that again.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So way back then, there is a scholarship where you can get 40,000 per month from if you opt out of placement and become an entrepreneur. Okay. So I thought, why
And this is
not?
from the university itself.
Yes,
From
yes,
okay.
yes. So I came to my room, thought for 5 minutes. I thought for 5 minutes. I said, yeah, chuck that. I'm going to to start a startup now. I first thing I did, I called my mom. I said, hey, I don't want to take a placement. She didn't understand anything.
Mm.
She was like, okay, whatever you want.
Yeah.
She didn't understand anything at
She
that
didn't know
point of
what you
time.
were trading money wise.
No, she was not understanding. She said, कि कुछ तो बोल रहा है, maybe he's right on.
Right.
Then second thing I did, I deleted all my resume from my
Oh,
computer,
right.
all variants of CV, and I'm not going to work on that anymore because in MBA days, resume works.
Oh, good Lord.
It
Yeah.
matters a lot. I said
Yeah.
I deleted it from my entire system.
I haven't had one, and I never had a good one to start with, but I haven't had a resume in maybe 13 years or 14 years, and it's made me a happier person, dude. I really, I used to have, my cousin was an MBA graduate from FMS Delhi and then from the
Got it.
Chicago Business School.
Got
And so
it.
she would sit me down and say, this is what you need to put down. I'm like, this just
Yeah.
feels fake. I can't do this. And
Yes.
that's why
Yes.
I chose to become a
Got it.
comedian, because you don't need a resume. You just need to be funny.
Yeah. 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 So
So,
I mean, see, I mean, I'll tell you one very personal thing about me. I like to be a bit more casual and unprofessional. But when you put a person like me in corporate life, we can do things, but it's always feels like you are doing it out of force. And not just me, there are people who
no, you sound
99%
like a type of people that need to be there, because you're not just going to follow things mindlessly.
we break rules, man.
Yeah,
We don't follow
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
Wow. I'm not a person like that. So, we want creativity, some creativity. And corporates, it's like
Corporates are like a great factory which
yeah.
doesn't like things out of place. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was very clear. Okay, if you want to be creative, this is not the right place. I mean, you can't fit in that bottle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much I decided that, and I was okay, Pawan, let's start it. I at that time point of time, I think I made a schedule. I started, going to I stopped staying at my dorm. I only came to sleep at night and then directly go to library. And then slowly I realized, hey, you know what, you need people if you want
Yeah.
to do something together. So alone I can't do it. So started searching for people, pitched many people, went to a
These
lot
are
of
your
universities,
classmates and people at your
classmates,
campus.
and outside also colleges. I went there, pitched people. Of course, it's very hard to find anyone to join you.
Right.
So luckily, I
Yeah.
mean,
I actually want to talk about that point. You mentioned it's hard to get people onto your team or onto your
very
idea,
hard,
right?
very hard.
So, this generation, and I don't mean to say this generation as though I'm not a part of it. Of course, we're all in this sort of human rat race called life. But, now more and more when people are being exposed to the fact that they can be anything and all these, these things being told to them, when you're sort of finding an opportunity to sort of break away from the traditional corporate approach, number one, like, how do you find talent that you can convince? And secondly, even with FinShots and the things you're doing about educating financial literacy to people across the country, what is your sort of approach to this? Like, how do you go about it? Because everyone feels that they deserve the best, the most money, the most returns, the most success. So what is your model to this?
I mean, to be honest, Sandeep, I mean, if you ask about creation of FinShots to, create a financial literacy, I mean, to be honest, if you ask us how we got there actually was basically we wanted to simplify, stock market first. Okay,
Right.
we wanted to make people understand, hey, it's, because we were also, I mean, when I found my friends who became my co-founders, when I told them the idea, they couldn't understand because they couldn't understand stock market. When I gave them some articles which was written by Economic Times or Money Control, they can't comprehend it. So they think if we can't understand it, who else will understand?
Right.
People studying in the stellar colleges are not able to understand what they are
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, who else will understand?
Do you
So
think that it's
let's
intentional, though, the language to
no,
communicate?
no, no, it's not intentional. The single problem I would tell you back then, what I analyzed was simple. People who are writing are not very creative.
It's strange you mentioned that, because I used to be an editor, copywriter at an IT company for the technical papers.
You
And I
know
know
what?
exactly what you're saying. They don't know how to express themselves.
Except one thing is that, and when you hire people from like, keep a paycheck along with it.
Mm-hmm.
You can keep a person with a paycheck, but you can never expect, you will get a passionate people with that.
Yeah,
That is a
absolutely.
different thing. When you are doing this, we are doing out of passion.
Yeah. And I also believe that, when you're paying someone as a developer, of course, I think everyone deserves their due, but you give more weightage to a person who knows coding than a person who can write well. That automatically
Correct.
says that, you know what, a person who's creating the product, of course, they deserve their due, but a person who's explaining that product and is also putting
Correct.
it in the right words to communicate the intention of that product is as vital in some cases.
Correct. 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 So, that was the problem. People who are writing till now also are not doing out of passion. They're
Mm.
doing because of paycheck.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is one reason. And once we were started simplifying all those stuff, at a point we understood, okay, hey, you know what, this is a great category,
Yeah.
which we never thought would scale like this, to be honest.
It's
We
amazing.
never
You hit
thought,
350,000 subscribers now, right? It's
yeah,
crazy.
we never
Wow.
thought it would scale like this, but it was a boom, big boom. Because, we realized, we understood the subject very well after a point, and we knew how people will understand, and we knew how to package it.
Hmm.
In short, is a great way to tell the story and package a financial news,
Yeah,
right?
I was looking through some of the articles you put out, and it just sounds interesting. Not even if I have money, extra money, or someone who's looking to invest, it just sounds like, okay, you know what? There's a larger issue at hand. It could be a certain drought in a region, or a famine, or it could be a farmer's thing. But how does that affect the financial situation that you are going to be put in? It's well constructed. So if you don't mind me
You
complimenting
know,
your curation.
you know what I mean. We had a lot of debate on that. We will write. When will people read it? When will people subscribe to it? When people will seek, you can make money by reading it or something like that. Okay, so you help people to, make money out of whatever you write. But what is the problem here? I would tell you. The biggest problem that I saw with why people are not able to understand, financial news, the stock market, or even investing was very simple. Everywhere you go, there are recommendation: buy this, sell that,
Yeah.
buy this, sell that, target price. When you have, when you see low hanging fruits, you will not even make effort to understand why it is there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was my problem. We
With all
don't need
aspects
a
in life, the low hanging fruit is the one which gets picked first, but it's not the
ex-
best, right?
exactly. So we are like, yeah, why would somebody learn? We need a platform which does give you low hanging fruit, which helps you understand what is there and
Yeah.
why it is there. So we said, we won't give any recommendations, what to buy, what to sell. We will make you understand business. Okay, in a
Right.
simple layman term, and I need 3 minutes of your day. That's it.
I mean, first of all, to make it so concise is a big task because, I mean, it's first of all the wordsmith that involves breaking it down to such simple forms, or simple or rather concise forms. But yeah, keeping people engaged, because end of the day, even this has to be entertaining, right? Because people have been bombarded with so much.
Sandeep, in our MBA days, yeah, or even in nowadays, I hear actually making things simple is actually very tough.
It is. It is
So
totally,
even
because people like making things complex. Like even life, like, there are no reasons for them to make it so distracted.
yeah. Like you see, most of the things, what we do is interrelated. What we do in life, we do it same thing here and
Yeah.
there. So
I mean, first of all, the entire thing, I'm sure you've heard this, and I'm sure it pissed you off when you heard it when you were in corporate, the work-life balance. I mean, how is there a work-life balance? Yeah. Like when you make that segregation, there's work, there's life. Like
yes,
there's a fundamental
yes,
issue with that.
yes. Of course, they are very right. So see, a lot of people ask us, hey, this idea, that idea. When you do startup, a lot of iteration happens. It's not one
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
You actually iterate, you understand the product, you understand the people, you understand your users, and you come to a point where you hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
So financial literacy, later on, we realized the scale was so high. Okay, we are writing such a good stuff. Like, okay, yes, it matters to people. But if you still want to really go and look for money, making money with writing FinShot, you can do it. But
Yeah.
you have to understand things patiently. You have to understand the business. It's a tough task.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you a question which might seem stupid, but do you think in a situation like this, what you're doing, and I just mentioned before the recording that Siddharth Pai from 314, he mentioned a similar thing, and we were talking about the idea is focus only on the money or the ups and downs in the market, or instead take a step back, and you just mentioned this, the story, the narrative, right? Because when you look at the story, which is the larger picture, which is has involves many things, right? Which is which is politics, which is economics, which is so many things, which is human tendency. When you read that story, the byproduct will automatically benefit you, right? Do you think that's a
See,
case
I
when you're
mean,
informed about the
I
larger picture?
see. I will give an answer from a very different angle.
Okay.
Okay, I have been a trader investor since last 7 years. Okay, and one thing that I realized, if you keep on looking at things every day, every now and then, or start trading every day now and out, you actually make money sometime if you become because you understand market.
Yeah.
But a person who is stayed invested will, chances are there he will make more money than you, and you will basically he will just outnumber you in
You
terms
mean
of
the
returns.
long term?
Yes.
Right.
Even in my case, I have seen. I mean, I thought here, why did I trade this for 10 times? If I would have just stayed invested, it would have.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So now the same. Now answering the question again from the second part is, I mean, who actually makes money? I'll tell you, money you can either, of course, makes based on the paychecks. The real money, if you want, the wealth generally comes from equity side. Okay. Now you bet on equity either. Of course, you run a company or something, or you invest in a company through stock market or buying shares somewhere. But both case the point is same. One case when entrepreneur runs a company, he is betting on a vision which he has, correct? That he bets that is going to be scale and that is going to be the future. Same case when you invest, you also think this thing is going to boom sooner or later.
I'm going to go with it. Yeah.
I'm going with it. So one idea, make it your life. That is going to, really work. If you really want to go for the wealth, that is the one way to make. There is no other shortcuts. You have to bet on one idea. You have to see the future.
Yeah.
That is the greatest way. The rest, I feel, I mean, yes, there are people who say, hey, Pawan, this, that, this. See, I don't care. I'm 0 to 1 guy. Okay.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I bet on I'm ready to bet on big things. Okay. I'm okay with that. But, if I focus on multiple things, I lose my interest or I can't focus.
I'm kind of like you, that's why I'm resonating with a lot of the things you're saying saying today. I mean, I'm sure you say it every other day as well, but it's very interesting to understand. But how do you communicate this message to a population that's constantly being told? I'm saying the youngsters, let's say take people below the age of 30, that they're constantly being told that you can do this, you have to
I
be
will
rich.
tell you. I will tell you. You know what I mean? The population, if they really want to understand, about money and all, stop listening to the noise. There are a lot of noise out there.
Yeah.
But to cut down that fact, and you have to actually focus on things where you actually see, what is actually going on, what is actually working out right now, and where you find those things. The first wisdom of learning, understanding, you start with the books, I would say.
Right.
Reading about things, business, what has worked, what has not worked in the past, and a lot of the bigger challenges is people don't focus on smaller things like reading and all, because a
You
lot
mean
of
the
things
real
are,
education, not
exactly,
college.
not college,
Yeah, the real education. Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
really want to invest in business and want to make money, understand the process of making money, how you can understand when you focus on things. There are so much of noise. If you ask me, Pawan, I mean, so many startups are there. Tons of people come to me, book calls on morning and ask me the first question, Pawan, how did you go about the fundraising plan? The problem, with what is about this is everyone is talking about raising funds. Nobody is talking about building team,
Yeah.
which is a bigger challenge.
Did you say building a team?
Yes. So why is this happening? Because there's so much of noise. People can't see things which are not told to them. Okay.
And also the long game, which is
Yes.
beyond the 6 months.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even in
Yeah.
the money case, the same thing. There is so much of gyan, utter gyan everywhere. I
Absolutely. Yeah.
mean, you cannot focus on
And the
one
platforms
thing.
play to that, right? Because it gets the attention. When someone says, this next video will show you how to be
Oh
rich
yeah,
in
how
30
to be a
minutes,
millionaire.
that'll get you more views as a platform
Yes,
than,
yes.
guys, you know what? Sandeep and Pawan are talking about the long game. No one gives a shit about the long game.
Yes,
You know what I mean? Because they
yes,
feel, oh my God, I need it right now and I
yes,
need it on my head right now.
yes. So
Yeah.
that is a trick. I
Yeah.
mean, it's okay, to be not a part of the rat race if you really want to
Oh, no,
go long run.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. I want to understand this, and maybe the question may be too vague or too broad, but when you're doing these things, helping people, give them insight into what the business side of things, as opposed to just focus solely on the money or the market. But when we're looking at a country of our size, population wise, with so many dreams and so many hopes and so many aspirations, and if money is the only driving force, of course, I can't generalize. A lot of people like you who have thought differently, who are doing something differently. But what is the future for us? Because if we become, and this is my personal observation, if we become another country like America with our numbers, just consuming mindlessly in many ways, it's a pretty scary state for demand supply. I'm just dropping economic terms, which I vaguely remember from 11th standard. But just the sheer number of people consuming in our country on that scale, if we have that kind of wealth, do you think it's sustainable?
I mean, see, I mean, that is a very, subjective.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I mean, to see, I mean, we are going to grow for sure.
Yeah.
In India, things are improving. 10
Yeah.
years back, India, and 10 years now, it's very different. Back then, when you used to try to find internship, when Pawan used to try to find internship, we will end up in a steel plant where you do
Yeah.
a training of 2 months. But now, if you see everything going remote,
Yeah.
finding an internship with good pay, I mean, you can parallelly study and you can earn.
Yeah, you can do
Right.
things online. You can work.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can save
So
on rent. You can,
things
yeah.
have changed, and of course, going forward, I mean, India, our country is going to, I mean, definitely grow a lot. Comparing it with which country, what country, I can't say that, but
Yeah.
in terms of, standard of living, it's going to improve. We will the poverty, we will alleviate it with, poverty line and all.
Yeah.
We would
No,
be
I think that's a
definitely.
great aspect of growth, right? That people
Yes.
get dignity and they get access to a better life. No doubt about
Correct,
that.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. So, I mean, you won't die out of hunger just because you can't find a job.
Mm-hmm.
That is not going to be the case, going forward. We will have enough job if you really want to do it, first of all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is definitely going to be there. And to be honest, I mean, from my angle, if you ask me, a country how prosper, I think, right, people should not die out of hunger, and
Oh, absolutely not. I think dignity
so
to live the way you want to live,
yes, yes.
I think, is
So
the
at
most
least
important thing. Yeah.
that is my way of looking, how a country should prosper. Still, poverty is there, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
Across the world, in America, the poverty is different. It doesn't look like
yes,
Indian poverty, but it's
yes,
as bad,
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So, but yeah, you people should not die out of hunger, at least.
Absolutely. I'm totally on board with that because I feel, from my limited knowledge, and I'm going to pose these questions from that place, is that when we look at ourselves, the disparity is very, very prevalent. And when you look at the rich getting richer, the poor are still dealing with the hardships. And as you said, the hope is that we do get to a place that at least the poorest of Indians is still better off than 10 years back. That's the
Yeah.
hope, right?
Yes.
But how do you equip yourself, like, with so many things, especially with the talk of crypto and going from 0 to 100? And I might repeat myself at the when I say this, but how does someone, I mean, if you have to talk to someone in their 20s getting out of college and they're the same person, campus placement as you were in the textile plant in Punjab, what would you say to someone in 2021 who's experiencing that same dilemma, maybe, or those same set of questions?
I mean, more than they buy. I usually, don't take, I mean, don't make an objective statement on things of, especially life, which
Yeah.
is so dynamic to change.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not advising when it comes to advising some young people who are, 20, 21, who are
Yeah.
still deciding, not giving them, one direction. Okay, this is the only right. First of
Yeah.
all, I
Yeah.
don't believe there is anything right or wrong. First of all,
Absolutely. Yeah.
okay. So with that level of subjectivity, I always, tell people, I mean, my whole motto is like, experience is something you have to own. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when you put it as an analogy, I will always say, if there is a young kid who,
Mm-hmm.
who is always running to touch the hot lamp, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can stop him many times, but until and unless he go and, experience and burns his hand,
Yeah.
he will not stop.
Curiosity. Yeah.
So let him burn for a while. If you
Yeah.
want to do it, try it out, yeah, ठीक है. See, money is going to come anyways. Time is not going to come. That you have to understand. Time is a bigger asset, not the money.
Mm.
Right? What you can do at 21, you can't do it at 29, 30. There is the ball game, the mental games, everything changes.
And the
So,
consequences and everything. Yeah.
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 So if you want to experience that, experience it, man. Nothing
Yeah.
is going to stop you. And
No,
it's
these are
okay to be
wise
wrong.
words, Not many people at the age of 60 know this. Like I was talking about emotional maturity, where a lot of people now have the entire thing which you said, right? The corporate job, they get the stock options, they get the investments, right? They get assets, and next thing they know, they're 65 and they're like, where's my life gone?
You know what I mean? I generally don't debate on all these things because people will come with their own
No, of course, to each his
mindset.
own, to each her own, and you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
apply your principles. And of course,
yes,
no one's judging them. But I'm
correct.
saying this is something so important to hear for people who maybe, and this is not advice, as you said, you're not going to tell them how to live their life. And
Yes,
I don't believe in that either, because I think making your own experiences is the best part of life, not
correct.
following someone else's path and what they did. But just to
Exactly.
hear this, saying that there is a way not to use money as the sole sort of like the carrot, and at the end of the race, you can experience life, and money is a byproduct.
100%, 100%. Money, I mean, to be honest, if you can gain experience, money will come. See, sometimes my whole thought process is like that, chasing things make you chase,
Yeah,
learn to focus on the process and let it attract yourself towards yourself. Let it flow through you,
that's really
right?
nice. Yeah, yeah,
So, focusing on the process is the most difficult part.
yeah,
Okay. And when you start doing that, that is the point where you start attracting things rather than chasing them.
yeah.
So money
You're a
and
slave to the
anything like that.
chase, right? You're always at the end of it waiting for what the
Yeah.
result is. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely, man.
So
That's really
yeah, I
well
mean,
put.
so that is how I see money. I still don't, respect it, to be honest. Very frank, still don't respect it. My parents tell me,
Yeah.
every time you are
No, it's
not
nice
doing.
to hear that. It's reassuring, because I don't respect it either, but I've been told that you're a fool. You don't respect money. Why do you waste money? I'm like, you know what? It's given me some of the best nights, maybe not investment wise, it's maybe some drunken
Yes,
nights, but I
yes,
made
yes,
some of the
yes,
best friends. I had some of the most memorable experience I forgot.
yes.
And
That is going to
I've,
stay.
yeah, and I've lived life. It's okay.
Yes.
Look at my savings, maybe less than 99% of my friends, but I've lived life. And I think,
Yeah.
um,
No,
of
I'm
course,
on the same page. I also think like that. But yeah, what I will say, I take bets that can create wealth. So
yeah. No, I think
becoming
that's
not,
smart. You can't just say, you know what, I've lived life and partied my entire life. No, that's you got to be a little smart about balancing it out. You got to
yeah.
experience the things which are worth experiencing. But
My point of saying is investing money to gain experiences also means in taking bets,
yeah, yeah,
to understand whether if that bet works, what will I gain?
yeah.
So,
It could be in so many things, right? It could be in learning a skill. It
yeah,
could
yeah,
be
yeah.
in as you said, learning new knowledge and spending money to learn that new knowledge, or meeting people who will,
Yes.
yeah. So it's not just one thing. Yeah,
And then you will meet people who is explaining the opportunity cost of 2 years that you are investing in somewhere. I was
yeah.
like, okay, okay. You said, oh, for 1 year, 30 lakhs is your opportunity cost. You are not sitting in the placement. 2 years later, you will go for a job. I said, fine, man.
You
That
know
is
what?
okay. I'm not living with the regret.
Yeah. No, man, it's truly nice to hear. I'll tell you honestly, Pawan. Like I think Somnath organized this call for us, and he told me about you, and he told you about me, and I really didn't know what to expect. I wanted to talk about FinShots and talk about the work and the good work you and your team are doing, but these particular insights are really, really nice to hear, because they resonate with me as well, and I'm sure a lot of my listeners will resonate with it. So thank you for, first of all, agreeing to do this podcast, and I think for living the life that you want to live. So appreciate it, my friend.
Yeah. See, sometimes it's very tough to be you, I would say.
Yeah, it
And a
is.
lot of people, still tough to accept that. Of course, people say, okay, when you're successful, then you can say that. But I
Yeah.
was always, if you ask me on whom
No,
you
I think it's
follow, how,
great that you are doing what you're doing, living by example. Because, and the thing you said, that I don't give advice, is better than, what's better than giving advice is just living what you're doing. And of course, people like the
yeah,
stories from rags to riches, but you've done it throughout, and it's hard to do it throughout. It's hard to sometimes take a step back, going, "Oh man, everyone around me is just running past with bigger salaries, fatter paychecks." But you know what? If you enjoy life for the process, I think, as you just said, it really is important to hear this message in
yeah.
today's day and age.
You know what what I felt when I was in my college when I took this decision. I knew, okay, people will see you as a fool,
Mm.
right? But somewhere down the line, you feel, okay, it's okay to be judged as a fool than to, forever regret and work.
Mm.
It's very hard for you to make a decision long term. It's always short term.
Yeah.
People, everyone in your circle, my circle, everyone has a short term decision making process. My
Yeah.
mom, dad, everyone I have talked to,
I think just to put that in words, someone would rather get 5 lakhs to do something today than take up a project which will have results which might not be monetary in 15 years.
Yes, yes.
You know?
So, even if I hire people, more on a cultural fit. I never interviewed anyone, watching their resume, seeing their resume and all. I just talk to them.
Yeah.
I see whether it's a cultural fit or not. And I look those skills only,
Mm.
I look
We need
after.
more of you in India today, my friend. I'm telling you honestly, and it's been actually a privilege to um, have you on this podcast because it's truly amazing to hear someone doing this and continuing to spread this message. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. That's okay. I mean, it's just, see, I told you I'm very open about what I am, how I think,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
fun, of
okay.
course.
I
No,
mean,
and we
yeah,
can do this. This conversation is just a thing. It's not about teaching. It's not about imparting knowledge. It's just that you and I are connecting on certain
correct,
thought. Yeah.
correct, correct. See, I mean, as long as, see, I mean, if you ask me, Pawan, okay, how do you, I mean, create a kind of how to focus on the process? Okay, it sounds so easy, easier said
Mm.
than done, right? I
Yeah.
will tell you a very good example. Something to build something is very good to build a skill is, people skills. That is the most important, what I find. Now,
Yeah.
if you ask me about the process,
Hmm.
I heard a very good story about, a politician called Amit Shah. I really admire the guy, not because I'm from right wing or something,
Yeah.
but I got a story. He is at such a level that he can, of course, run the whole country. He
Mm.
went to a sabha, and there were 5 followers, 5 guys who were listening to them, 5 workers, party
Hmm.
workers. He still didn't turn up and said कि नहीं करना है. He could have done, right? पांच
Yeah.
लोगों को क्या देना है? He stayed there. He entertained everything. He did his work.
Yeah.
He didn't undermine कि नहीं, only 5 I won't give. So that ego, and that valuing thing, right, is still it's is a big deal. I mean,
At any point, yeah. I think
exactly.
ego is the biggest
Yeah.
resistance to your
Even
own growth.
I myself, I don't do that. I'm still, I have to kill those ego point from
I
within
think all
myself.
of us have to. I think the world is full of ego, right? It's the biggest resistance, right?
Yeah. So that is what which stops you, sometimes
Yeah.
focusing on the process. The ego thing and all comes into place. So, those small lessons that I've seen, actually, I started admiring a lot of things, okay, how to focus on the process when you are completely detached to the
End
metrics.
result. Yeah.
Exactly. So focusing on the process instead of worrying about the result is the toughest thing to do.
Yeah.
Easy to say.
No, it's a very difficult thing to do. Like it's so easy to worry about how many people listen to this, how to market it, but enjoying the conversation for me is more important.
Now, Sandeep might say, ki, okay, only 10 people are listening to my podcast,
Dude,
right?
10,
Oh,
are you serious? I'll probably lucky if I get 5.
yeah, no. But the
I'm sure.
point is, Sandeep is very happy doing whatever
Yeah.
he did, right?
Yeah,
He
and
enjoyed it.
I enjoyed the connection of talking to
Correct.
someone I've never met in my life
Correct.
who resonates on so many different levels, right? With the way we think, we're different age groups, we're different from different parts of the country, we're different sort of things in our life, the path where we got here is different, but we can still say, you know what you said is great, and I agree with you, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, man, so whatever you are doing is a great thing, and of course, whoever listens should never be the motivation. What you are doing, and if you're enjoying, and that is everywhere. I mean, even as a person, if you ask me how I work, that's how I work. I don't care much about result. I do things if I like it. If I
Yeah.
don't like it, I just delegate it.
Well, on that note, Pawan, thank you and hats off to you, my friend. Appreciate it. And, cheers. Thank you
Sure,
so much.
sure.
And I hope
Thank
to
you so
meet you
much.
someday soon and really
Sure.
appreciate you for being so cooperative and doing this and sharing all your stories and thoughts.
Sure, sure. Thanks. It's so nice to call me here, right? I really enjoyed talking to you as well.
Thank you, man. No,
Thank you.
it's amazing to have these things work out. Otherwise, as you said, ego. Some people are like, no, I don't know if I'm ready, but you just did it so willingly. So appreciate it. I really do.
Sure, sure. Cool.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.